Good morning. I hope everything's working. It's been a while since I streamed. I Little quick history. I way back at Thanksgiving Day, I completely blew my back out, which pretty much had me laid out for 3 weeks to a month. And ever since then, I really haven't been feeling well. Um, Long story, but I just haven't been healthy. Um, And then when I did, the weather was really nice, and I was out in the yard working for the 3 or 4 days that the weather was really nice. And then it got crappy, and I was going to come out here, and I was sick again. I had some kind of stomach bug. But anyway, I did stream like New Year's, I think, once. That was about it. Anyway, we're here. I was out here yesterday. I was playing with that. Um, it's a test. It's going to someone, one of my relatives. I don't know if I want to say because I think he wants to give it to his wife for Valentine's Day or something. It was supposed to be a Christmas present. He wanted it for her for Christmas, and well, between illnesses and reality and everything else I had to do, didn't happen. Thank God they're family, and he's over it because that's life. I have not done much of anything out here for almost a month. I mean, I putzed around. I did the vacuum box. Yesterday, I actually ran wires to put another light bracket in, which you can't see. It's not hooked up. I just put the box in and put pads on it. This is, again, you can't see it, but they're all truss joists. So you have to pad it. You can't nail to it. You have to pad it out, and it's a whole different nightmare. I put the box in. I ran the wires. I don't have an outlet I want to use because I'm not going to use an expensive one for the light. I have some 20 amps, but there's just no need to waste $7 a piece really nice outlets for tools for stupid lighting. That's just going to be LED. So I literally, it's the one place I do justify. Normally I say buy good quality, like electronics and everything, all your outlets and your power boxes and all that. But honestly, for shop lighting, as long as you cover everything, because you're going to get dust in there and you don't want it to short out. As long as you cover everything, you can go to like any of the big box stores and they will have, normally an outlet's going to be like $2 for a cheap, basic 15 amp, outlet. You can literally get a box of 10 of them for like $7. They're stupid cheap. They break, they fall apart. They're really not high quality. I wouldn't use them in a wall outlet where I'm going to be plugging it in and out and in and out. They'll wear out. They'll break. They have bad connections. But simple 4-foot stupid cheap LED lighting, which believe it or not has been awesome. You plug it in once, you leave it, you're done. So that's one area I do say it's okay. I mean, if you want to spend the money on the better ones, I'm all for it. You should always get the best ones you can afford, but right now I'm a little cheap. I got a glue blob right here, and I don't like glue blobs on my table. Which is why one of the few areas I actually polyurethane many coats, because not quite as good as laminate. Totally changing the subject. If you make a bench top that you're going to be gluing on, from Mica style laminates, from Mica's brand name, any laminate is going to be a better glue resistor. The next step is polyurethane. All the other finishes won't hold up against the glue as well. Polyurethane is not great either. It's not the best, but it's far from the worst. I can feel more glue blobs gluing. But it's still better, and I just love the natural wood. I'm not covering this with Formica, even though this is like total crap oak, which is why I made the bench top out of it, because it's garbage, and it would be a waste to even attempt to use it anywhere else. But, well, I actually have a maple band on it, but that's garbage maple too. It's all scraps that I just glued together to make this bench top. but I'm not going to cover it with crap from mica. Just can't. I'll twice a year I'll take it and give it a light sanding and refinishing it, and get rid of the glue bobs. But it is it's a bench top. It doesn't need to be perfect. I just like the look of the oak. Everything else is garbage. You can look at any of my stands; they're all scrap. This is actually scrap. I just like the bench top. Anyway, back to the cutting board, or this is going to be a charcuterie board. I kind of screwed up. I knew I screwed up. This was a kind of an experiment to see what I need to do. What steps to do in what order. I think it'll still be usable. I'm not going to trash it. I'm going to continue with it, find out what I did wrong, how I can do a better job. What I did, and I'll show you in a second here, is I glued up your basic everyday charcuterie board, cutting board. It's black walnut and cherry stripes. I glued it up pretty good. It was about 1.125 inches. It wasn't perfect. It was right around an inch. It was a little less than 1.125 inches, but right around an inch. Most of them. I wasn't being precise with it because I knew I had to cut with it and everything. The problem is I planed it right away. And here's the thing. That sounds all great and everything, but it took the thickness down. Now the next step, and here's what I was doing, is I was making this swirly pattern in it. What this was is, can I lift this thing up without disturbing it too much? Oh crap! It's kind of heavy with all the clamps. Actually, this side will give you a better idea what it's going to finally look like. Can you actually see that on the camera? Sort of not. Let me flip it over so it's lower. These pipes are heavy. That's why I like 1/2 inch over 3/4. You can sort of see the swirly pattern. Basically, what you do is you cut out a wave, whatever, and then you put thin strips of contrasting material in to give it a look. It's a look. What I should have done is not planed it. Now, normally you make a pattern, you either use a router or you bring it over to the bandsaw, cut it out, use a router to clean it up. You have to cut out the material for the thickness of your strips. I did 3, guesstimating 1/8 inch. I really wasn't measuring. I was just kind of screwing around with the bandsaw and made these out of scraps. There was some bad material. Not bad, but it had issues. It wasn't really straight. It wasn't really great. But for this, it doesn't actually have to be straight because you're making it unstraight. It just needs to be somewhat consistent. It's not very consistent. I had kind of a taper in it. I tried to flip flop it. Didn't work perfectly, but it came out okay. The thing is I had already planed this in thickness here, and I kind of expected it. When I clamped this together, this kind of bowed on this because, again, these weren't perfect. They never are. I don't have the equipment to run something this thin through the planer or the jointer. I can make a sled, glue it down, run it through the planer, but I've tried it and I've had edges catch and where it's so thin, pulled up and blew apart in the planer and caused a whole nightmare. And just not willing to risk my planer. I did run it through the jointer on one face, cut it. I slightly sanded it lightly so it didn't have the bandsaw marks on it quite so bad. It is fairly thin and you can compress it a little bit, so a lot of that hides with the glue and the fill and gives it a little bit of a tooth for the glue to grab onto. Anyways, so yeah, let's take it apart. I clamped it all up. It also slid a little, which I had a feeling it was going to do. I thought I could correct it. If you look at this edge, I don't know if you can see it in the camera. This little tip right here shifted that way. As you clamp it, the whole thing kind of wants to separate on these. They end up being kind of like a slide. I thought about making a little jig that holds at least one edge, and then I could clamp it to there, but I didn't because I was being lazy and in a rush. I used this diagonal to pull it back, which helped a lot, but I didn't get it quite perfect. But again, this is all an experiment to see what I got to do. This clamp keeps wanting to just slide off. Anyway, where I pre-planed it, now I'm going to have to plane it again, and I have a feeling it's going to be too thin. Because the other thing is this is walnut, maple, walnut, maple, walnut, and then these are not maple, cherry. These are cherries, walnut and cherry base, and then maple and a strip of purple heart in the middle of two maple strips to make it a little bit thicker, but each strip is thinner, if that makes sense. Makes it look a little more delicate. Whatever. The purple heart slipped up, which I didn't see right away. So it's gapped here. I was actually hoping the bottom would be my reference thickness, and I would have to, after, obviously you got to plane it again. I would be able to just plane the top and just do like a really thin pass on the bottom. Problem is I've got like almost an eighth of an inch here. I'm going to have to take off the bottom as well as the top, plus flattening it. I have a feeling I'm going to end up with less than a half an inch. Where's my tape measure? I should just lay this thing down, huh? I have a feeling I'm going to end up with less than a half an inch of leftover material. Where is my tape measure? It's usually right here. I like my brother gave me a little baby one. Right now I am just over 3/4 of an inch. And I have a feeling with flattening this, because it's kind of cupped this way, which this did when I clamped it. Excuse me. Plus I got to take off, and I left this tall deliberately thinking I could just plane it off or cut it off. I'm going to actually cut most of this off on the bandsaw. I was hoping I could keep it above a half an inch and make it a nice charcuterie board, which is what it's supposed to be. But I have a feeling I'm going to be below a half an inch when it's all said and done. And I totally distorted my little 3D printer pad out here. The good thing is I can put it right back because it's TPU. TPU is good. So let's unclamp this puppy. Clip off all the scrappy crappy and see how much flattening. Holy crap! I did tighten this a lot, didn't I? It did dry overnight. I'm a little concerned. The gaps weren't perfect on here. They were pretty good. Now, when I cut this out, the little swirly mark, I did it on the CNC, which was another whole nightmare because I knew there was a stupidly simple way to do it. And after about an hour, I had to go onto the Fusion website because I use Fusion 360 and ask. And of course, I got a response because the guys on Fusion are really good. And it was stupidly simple, but of course, I spent an hour trying to figure it out myself and couldn't find it. People often wonder why others go on websites and ask stupid questions that they could easily find on Google. Well, because sometimes you can't find it on Google, even if it's staring you in the face. Sometimes you just don't see it. But that gives you a better idea of what the whole pattern's going to be like. Got this swirl in the middle. So the first thing I got to do is I left these long deliberately because I was hoping I could do less planing. I shouldn't have made them this long, and I should have made them all the same thickness. The purple heart was a little bit thinner. I should have ripped this maple down to the same thickness as the purple heart, and I wouldn't have had this slide out. You really can't see it here, but the Purple Heart's sticking up here and is inset here a little bit, so I'm going to have to take off even more. I may plane it down, and if it gets too thin, I'll just pat another layer of maple or cherry or just another pattern on the bottom. I've done it before. I actually like the look. I was just hoping not to do it to this one. This is not going to be the last one I do. Again, this is just a test, an experiment. It's actually not as badly curled as I thought it was going to be. It seems pretty solid. It is curled, but nowhere near as bad as I thought. Let's set up the bandsaw, which I know you guys are way over there and can't really see. And if you notice, I actually have the stock guide back on here, which, if you watch one of my YouTube videos, you'll know I don't hate this. I just hate that there's no middle option. I think what I got to do first is, well, turn the power on. Because I have to power the tools off. Let's turn the power on. Let's turn the power on. And then I need to scrape these couple, 3 glue blobs off of here. So as it's running across the fence, it's not bouncing it. And I'm not trying to get it perfect. I'm just going to make it so the cleaner doesn't have to do quite as much work. I need to resharpen this. This is actually an old gasket scraper. This is my father's gasket scraper. He's had this since I was a little kid, when we used to rebuild small engines. Because back in the day, my father was one of those frugal people, and my grandfather was too, who would find stupid people in the dump that were throwing away perfectly good, like lawnmowers and weed whackers and that kind of stuff. And he grabbed them and bring them home and fix them. Sergio! Yeah, this is going to be a decent one, I hope. Let's go to the bandsaw and set it up to about this height. Cranking, 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 cranking. Excuse me. I'm still not fully over my cold. And no, it wasn't COVID. I just had a mild cold. I actually had a stomach bug. And let's tighten the belt up. And I got to spin it before I close it and make sure it's seated. Which is not, for some reason. Usually it heats right up, and I'm just spinning it for practice. But I'm glad I spun it, because it might have spun off. And this thing's tight, and that thing's tight, and that's tight. The first thing I want to do is nip off these little extra ends. Do that first. I can throw them out because they're Purple Hearts. And then, after this thing slows down, I really wish I had one with a brake on it, but, you know, it was free, so I really can't complain. It was a free bandsaw, and it's still a really nice bandsaw, even if there are a few features I would like to have had. So I really can't complain at all. But I would like to have had a break. A break would have been nice. All right. let's see if I can get this through here without ruining it. I'm going to have to lean it a little bit, it looks like. I can manage. And that gives you a much better idea of what it's going to look like. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. I think it'll be cool with the little swirly swirl in the middle. Again, it was super simple. I kind of just made it look the same on both sides, no matter which way you were looking at it. There's some that do all these really fancy things, and I may do that someday. But this is a first test because I'd never done that clampy, swirly thing. So the next is I got to open the frickin' door, and it's cold out. Because otherwise, I got no place for the wood chips from the planer. And I'm going to have to fix that really soon, like I did with the dust collection for all the other tools. But for now, I don't have that. And I really don't want to lose all my heat. So what I think I'm going to do is manually open the door. Only open it the 4 inches I need to get the pipe out, the door over there. And not open it all the way, even though it will end up with 2 openings because the top opens and the bottom opens, if you don't know how a garage door works. But it's still less than the big wide thing. So if I pull this, I need a handle here. But I just lift enough to put those boards under there. I can slide this out. Or I can push this out somewhere in the middle where I know that I got a screen on the other side. So I need to get it, need to go up high. Unfortunately, push it out. To about there. Then I can use the planer without fully opening the door. And believe me, it's worth it because I can already tell the difference. That it's not screwing everything up. So it's going to get very loud. I don't really want to go any farther, but from like here to here, the purple heart is still not there. I'm kind of at the thickness I want to be right now, and it's not actually flat yet. How thick are we? We're just over 5/8. And I really need to put it on a sled because it's getting bad snipe. So what did I do with the piece I was using for a sled? I put it back over here. I know I did. Where did it go? Where did you go? This will work. And I still got the garage door open, which is not a good thing. Actually, not very flat, which is, yeah, that's going to end up wicked thin. Gosh darn it. I'm going to hot glue that puppy in place and get it flat. I have to get it flat, so it don't matter how thin I end up with it now. It's got to be flat. That's all there is to it. And this was an experiment, but it's pretty far out. I'm not going to end up with a very thick board. It's going to be pretty thin because I got to take a good 1/8 of an inch out on both sides. And I need some thinny strips, which I have over here. And that's why we save all these thinny strips, just for making pads like this. All right, well, hot glue gun. I gotta get a new hot glue gun because this one not only, well, it would help if I actually turned the power onto it. When I'm losing heat out that garage door, I gotta fix that whole garage door situation. I don't want to just put a hole in the wall. I want to collect this stuff. I need a hot glue gun with a foot, so it'll stand up. This thing was super cheap. I think this thing's like 100 years old too. I don't even know where this hot glue gun came from. I have a smaller one, but it's small. And it's fine for delicate work. But with this stuff, it's more of a pain in the ass because you end up just throwing more glue sticks in it, which I don't want to do. I can feel the cold air rushing in, wasting my heat. This is very depressing. Heat's expensive. I think I'm going to close the door temporarily because this is going to take longer than I wanted. This is going to take longer than I wanted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these on the other side, on each side. I was using these before. And they extend out on either side and they take up the snipe of that planer. Because that planer is getting old. And I can't get the in and out feed tables flat anymore because they're kind of in a groove. And they always settle back to the same spot. And a lot of people will tell you you have to put a board here to stop it, and you probably should. You probably should. But I'm just not gonna. I found with all of these glued on here that doesn't really become a problem. Actually, I think I just put that on the wrong way, but that's all right. I believe this is already. Nope, it doesn't have to go that way. Right. Good enough. Let's just do it. Whoops. And you hot glue these on to the sled. And hopefully that takes up some of your snapey snipe. Give this another hit. And I need to find a way to like hang this thing so it doesn't ooze all over the place. 3D printing to the rescue! Just haven't gotten there yet. If I can do it. No, I don't really want it on my CNC because then I'll have a glob of glue somewhere. Oh well. Back to the planer. This is Millamine on the bottom, even though it's all chewed up. These are the rep box tests. I use scrap old cabinet shelving, but the Millamine does slip easier. Oh crap. Did that relock? Nope. Hopefully, I'm blowing it right out to split my screen from here to get this out. Just, which is good. Now I gotta reset the height. Yes, now I got more material to plane off. And you hit some solid wood. That looks like it made it. Let's break it off real quick. And do the other side. Yeah, this is going to end up really thin. Unfortunately. Because it started out thick enough. And I am going to put it back on here. How is that still bobbling? Is it underneath there? It is. Still kind of bobbling, but nowhere near as bad. And crap, I shouldn't have turned the hot glue gun off. We are going to re-hot glue it down. This thing's still warm enough. Still gooey. Seems to be working. So I can eliminate snipey snipe. Because I don't like snipey snipe. I have a feeling this board isn't perfectly flat either, but oh well. That was smart, you dumbass. Now I can turn that off because I won't be using it again. hell? It's playing some kind of StreamYard thing. It's back on? Or it's not back on? It is on now. Okay. I think it went to like when because I opened the text message and I think it just automatically kicked over to prioritize the text message. I could do my. That's the one thing I actually like about the Macs. If it came to iPhones or Droid phones, I don't give a crap. They both work fine. The only reason why I went with an Apple phone is because the Apple phone directly ties in with my Macs. So I can text message off the phone. Anything I can literally take phone calls off the phone on my computer if they're on. If it's within a certain range and I'm on the computer, I don't need to go to my phone to answer the phone. I can actually answer my phone on the computer. That makes sense. Which is really the only reason I went with an iPhone over a Droid, because I don't care. Either one of them are fine. They both have their ups and their downs. Neither one of them I think is any better than the other. It's just if you have Macs, the iPhone ties in and makes it worth having an iPhone with a Mac. But anyway, all right. So the sound's back. That's good. Sorry. Anyway, I think I have to laminate onto here because this is way too thin. I don't know how much of this you heard before the mic kicked out. It looks really nice. It came out pretty cool. I like the look. It's got a nice pattern to it. It's simple, and yet that swirly thing gives it a nice, elegant, swirly thing. So it's a little bit different. I do need to pad it because it's too thin. Even for a charcuterie board, this is too thin. It's under a half an inch. So I got to glue some stuff, which I actually think will be good because, as I was saying before, these swirly things are clamped in. So they're always going to try and resist, and this S pattern is going to try and resist and expand and contract. And I have a feeling it'll make this whole board curl because it's smaller here in this corner. And I don't know if you know how wood expands and contracts, but I think it'll literally force this thing into having a bow on this diagonal like this. So by gluing another layer on here of different grains and patterns of wood, I think it'll actually stabilize it quite a bit. So I need, what does this end up being? Just over 7 1/8 by 16 3/8. I think I'm going to do like a little over half an inch, so because I'm going to have to plane it all down again once I glue it. So if I do just over, right around a half an inch, when I plane it down, I'll end up about an inch to 3/4. And that'll work. So anyways, hey Ann, how's it going? No, the battery wasn't empty. I think the headphones prioritize the chat app. It stole the mic away from StreamYard. So what do I have that's kind of scrappy? I don't really have anything scrappy left. It's kind of what I use this up on. I could just do more black walnut. I do have a chunk of black walnut left that's kind of square. Black walnut is so expensive. And this is just a pad. What do we have over here? Should I flip the camera around so you can see me dig through the woods? Here, let's flip the camera around so you can see me dig through my woods. How does that look for a view? Can you see my stacks of wood? You can see most of them. How is that? Is that a little better? Sure, you can see some of the lower stacks. Let's get the rudder table out of the way with all the junk on it from my mother. It's all hardwood for cabinets.
taken off to France. He's going to France for, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 10 days, something like that. I think he said he was going to France. I think they're going skiing. I think they can get skiing. And they retired this year. Good for him. Seriously, good for him. That's somebody can. I mean, you could sort of say I'm retired, but my life is more miserable because of it. But that's a different whole story. What do we have over here? We have this yucky piece of black wood. This is actually a drawer front, I can tell. A lot of this wood, I don't know if you know, is not new. Most of my woods are reclaimed furniture lately. I have a lot of little strips and boards and pieces. They're all kind of yucky. I have all this maple. I love the look of this maple, but the one problem, and this I won't put on a cutting board, is all this wormholes. Wormholes, it looks pretty, sort of. I'm not a big fan of it, but some people are. It's really nice. This is actually local. We bought this off a couple of kids. We bought a whole freaking slab. Using can't use the wormholey stuff in a cutting board because it's just going to get yucky. It will not be safe for food consumption. What do we have in here? I have what looks like a bunch of maple and cherry pieces. Some more maple and cherry pieces that were actually going for something else, but I know that's a dead end, so I don't worry about it anymore. So, I'm not going to use those because that's that really expensive stuff. Pull this off, set it somewhere. Which I probably should have a where I was going to set it before I pulled it off. But that's fine. I did okay. Of course. This is all really crap too. And that one's not. Maybe able to use that. This one is but I have this, which is kind of thin. And this, which is kind of thin. That's where the crab. Sink. This and this. It's long enough. It's long enough. It may not be long enough. It is long enough. Put the electronic stuff away. Electrical stuff. And I'm not doing electrical today because I don't have any outlets yet. But if I cut this, I believe I can get 2 out of here. What did I say this thing was? Well, you guys can't see. 16 and a half. Where you can see what I'm doing here. Sort of. 16 and a half. So I need 33 or more, which this easily is. So, how thick is this? It's only like a half an inch at the thickest part, huh? A little over. You know what? I think that'll do. I think if I lay this out, I can rip this down. I double that up. I'm going to use this one too. I think I have enough material. So, let's cut these up. And use those as pads, even though I really don't want to. Really don't want to. I really don't know how to do it, I guess. Because something's got to be done. So, I put this at some inches. So we have the same on this side or more. Way more. 18 3/4. 18 and a half. This is the only thing that doesn't have jointed edge. So if I lay these out on here, I have almost enough with just those four. I think what I will do is just clean this up a little, clean these up a little, put these down on the bandsaw to about this thickness, a little bit thicker. And switch over to my little homemade fence because having that tall fence is kind of pointless. Why not this type of material? Get it bigger. That high-low fence is great for really high or really low, but 90% of what I do is this kind of stuff. So to have that high-low fence, kind of pointless for 80% of what I cut. Let's switch over to the vacuum. Pick up the little stick. Oh, check this out. That's pretty cool. It's the leftover S-cornery piece that was too tall. It's actually really, really cool. I'm going to have to keep that because it's really, really cool. All right. We're in fix-it mode. Now that I have a vacuum on it, might clean up. All I'm going to do is joint up the edges so they glue together tight. Really, everything looks good, other than the very center of these two. So let's joint those. Which I get to play with a new jointer, but I actually have to do something. I think I gotta wax this thing. I put a new, for Christmas, my brother gave me a spiral head for this. And I put the V-belt on there, as well as the spiral. I'm actually having a little bit of issue pushing material through. And I'm not sure if it's just the spiral has more resistance, which I know it does. If you don't know, a regular 2 or 3 bladed head, even though it's like timing wise, kind of microscopic, you have relief of movement in between this. The blade hits the material you're cutting, and then it's gone, and it's actually, for every revolution, you have a larger space of no material being cut. That makes sense. So you actually have a relief. That's why, even though these cut with a smaller blade, the motor draws more power with a spiral head or a helical head because there's a blade constantly in contact with the material. So there's never any relief for the motor. Does that make sense? I don't know how else to explain it. And that's basically it. Well, this sucks about your mom. Join the club. So they actually draw more juice, even though they're quieter, they run smoother. Like I got a spiral on the cleaner, which is why I decided I really wanted a spiral for this. And I was saving up for it. My second oldest brother said, "Oh, I bought you one for Christmas, don't buy one. It's just back ordered for that jointer." Which I knew it was going to be because this is a weird ass jointer. And you have to buy a special head. You can't just buy an off the shelf one. They literally have to make it for it. Which they do. I mean, they do them in batches, that's what I think they do. And they wait until they get 100 orders or whatever for this particular style. Even though this is a Reliant printer, it's the same thing that year as any of the Powermatics or the Grizzlies or actually some of these parts I bought Grizzly to replace them. They're all interchangeable. They have different knobs on them and everything. The Grizzly will have a lever here instead of a round knob kind of crap, but the base unit's the same. But anyways, they make a bunch of them all at once. I have a feeling. And what I found out was this one year, this edge I got a joint. So let's get a pencil mark and say good and bad. And that pencil mark's gone. Yeah, that's good. That's a nice tight seam all the way up. Little bit of a play here. But if I can clamp it closed by hand, pretty much. I can almost clamp it by hand. So I may do a pass on each of these. That is no good. So anyway, I had to have it made. I think they can make it all at once. Everything's hooked up. It's going to get loud. No problems clamping together. The only thing I need is a little bit more. That way. So, what I will do is face one edge of this. I don't even know what this is. It kind of looks like cherry, but I don't think it is. But I will face one edge, and then I will run it through the bandsaw. I think I'll face this edge. That's better than sanded quality. It really, really is. I really don't want to fire up the planer because I really should plane this edge. Damn it! I wish I could just run it through the joiner. You know what? I'm going to try it and see how it comes out. I got plenty of material currently, so let's see. But those look like nice joints now. Everything is pretty and nice. If I can clamp them tight by hand with actual clamps, will be no problem. So one last thing is to cut the height, which I have predetermined Alrighty. Yeah. So let's rip it through the bandsaw and get our piece. And that, my friends, is how you do that. That should all work. Now, here's the tricky part. Gluing this all together. Normally I would just clamp this together, like so, and then clean it up and then clamp it to this. Problem is I don't want that surface to stay perfectly flat. So I think I'm going to be a dumbass and try and clamp this way as well as clamping all of these pieces down. That's just really stupid. It really, really is. But I think I can get away with it. I think I can. Should I try it? This did come out really nice. I really like this. I think that's awesome. I think that looks just freaking peachy. I'm going to do more of these. I almost think this would have looked better without these stripes. If it was just all black walnut or all cherry, either one with this in the middle. This might look nice if it was all cherry, and then this stripe here had the purple heart in the middle, but the black walnut strips, which I might do one. I'll make it all maple with black walnut and purple heart strips. I just think it's awesome. Okay, this is going to be the top. This will be the bottom because it's got all the holes that I can now glue all this to. And as long as I do this properly, this is actually just a little bit bigger this way. So when I clamp down on this, it'll actually clamp on these and not this. And then I can down clamp all of this to that. Right? Don't know. But I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to do it. Because I am that freaking, well, because I'm that stupid. I'm going to go for it. So, let's get out some clamps. Because we need clamps. Got lots of clamps. Actually, I think I'm only going to need 2 going lengthwise. Then I'm going to want a lot of these, maybe even some of these, along with some calls. There's a chair over there. Use it for a clamp storage. Did I empty my cyclone bin yet? Oops. How does this work? If I put this here first. line that up. Bring it in just a little bit. Not quite at the edge. I can just go use it. So that will be clamped that away. Then I can use these, which are pre-taped. These got tape on them, so they don't stick to the glue, to the gooey goo. And I need shimmy shims. Lots of little shimmy shims. Get out of all of this. This is why I don't throw away these little strips. I use them for shims like this, because these are not all at the same height. And I could fix that. I could just run all this through the planer right now. But it'll never get perfect, and I'll end up with snipe, and it's going to get cold. And I think I would get it good enough with shims. So that's my plan. Yeah, I think it'll work. Actually, I really don't even need this, because I think I can edge clamp this. And what I will do is cut these closer to the leg. I'll leave them a little long. I will cut them all closer to the actual length of this. Let's go over here and bring the dust collection. And snip their ends off. Where is my baby tape measure, damn it? I love my baby tape measure. I can't even find the other one. Well, I got a big old one. Oh, there's the other one. It's over here where I wanted it to be. Oh, sometimes I'm just a dumbass. What is this thing? 16 and 5/8, I think I said. 16 and 3/8. So if I do 16 and a half a little later, I'll be good. So 16 and a half. Roll up. Move it. And they don't have to be perfect. That one's close. 16 there. Yeah, 8, so I'm allowed to have wood stuff. And my insurance. Much closer. Right. I didn't even cut that off. Would I do double cut the same size like a dumbass? Probably. Oh, well. As long as it's too long, it don't matter. As long as it's too long, it don't matter to me. And there we go. That will be the bottom of this board. I believe it's all going to work. So, let's get some glue. And start gooing it up. Because I'm gooey. Ooey gooey, rich and chewy. I love silicone brushes. That's how you clean the old glue off. Once it's dry, you just rub your hand over it and it all breaks off. These are wicked cheap. You can buy the specialty glue brushes, which actually a couple places have on sale and they're not bad. Stop, old curmudgeon. Didn't even see you guys come in. How did I set up the exhaust to run with the saw? Which one? All of them? I have one drop that does these three. There's the chop box, the cleaner, the bandsaw, and the table saw. And it all goes up to the ceiling. Yeah, I can even show you. Actually, I want to brag about this a little bit because it's pretty cool. Okay, all the saws, it goes up. I don't know if you guys are actually seeing this. It goes up to the ceiling. Which, I don't know if you can see with all the lights. Where the hell's the light? There it is. Goes up. Keep going the wrong way because everything's reversed. Comes down, goes up. I switch them out. Goes through this piece of PVC all the way along the ceiling, and then drops down into my 3D printed cyclone. And then it goes into the vacuum. I used to just pump it outside from the vacuum, but I'm tired of pumping all my nice heated air outside. So I made that box. I don't know if you saw that on the thing, but it's just got some halfway decent HVAC filters, one on each side. I think I'm going to go up a grade, but it seems to be working. It comes with that stupid bag. I don't know if you've ever seen those bags on those high-end fancy. Not that that's high-end. It's actually the bottom of the line. It's no better than the Harbor Freight dust collector. The same thing. The one horsepower little dust collector. But anyway, most of them come with a stupid filter bag. It's just a big canvas bag, and it filters out the big chunks. But every time you fire it up, you get a poof cloud of like fine dust, and I don't like that. I don't like fine dust. So I made that filter. I was pumping it outside, but that pumps all my heat outside this time of year. Summertime, I don't care because this isn't air conditioned or anything. But I don't want to pump my heat outside anymore. Not in the winter. I didn't get rid of the pipe that goes outside. It's still there. I covered it and blocked it off and covered it with insulation. I will probably go back to it in the summer. It's just easier. But anyways, the cyclone doesn't get all the micro dust out. And the filter bags don't get all the micro dust out. So I was pumping all the micro dust outside. The separator catches the big crap and all the little stuff. And the separator actually works really well for Tom Llama designed cyclone. Yeah, I will say the 4-inch doesn't seem to work as well as the 2-inch. The 2-inch is the 2-inch is amazing. I've pulled the 2-inch goes to a central air vacuum that I was given, which has a bag. And all the cyclone's doing is preventing me from having to change the bag every day. But it's been on there well over a year. And I pulled the bag off, I don't know, a couple months ago. And there was almost no um, dust in the bag. I mean, like, I cut the bag open to check it out. And it was, I mean, there was stuff in it. You could tell there was stuff in it. But you could literally see through the filter still. Like, if you held it up to the light, it was not all clogged with crap. So I was like, that's cool. This, it's only been on there, what, a week? And I have done half as much material with it, and I can already see stains on those HVAC filters. I can see where where the air pressure is already. There's coloring from it, where it's letting the fine dust, where it's filtering the fine dust out, which means it is filtering it, but a lot more is getting through from that bigger cyclone than the little one does. And I think part of it is um, the design of the cyclone. I don't think I have the exit tube the right length. I'm not sure if it's too short or too long. As I kind of just guessed when I designed it. I just said, oh, this looks like the right length. That thing should be sticking in there. There was absolutely no aerodynamics, hydrodynamics, whatever they want to call it. I think even though it's air, I think they still call it hydrodynamics for some reason or another. I don't know. But anyway, there was none of that actual sciencey stuff. It was just me going, yeah, I'll make it about that long. That looks right. It still works. I mean, it probably, the little one, um, I would say, again, I'm just guessing from what it does. I would say it gets more than 90% of everything that goes into it. I'm going to say this one gets more like 80, 85%. All I really care about is the big stuff, the cyclone filtering out the big stuff. Because, I mean, I think it was $12 for the filters I bought. Because at Home Depot, if you buy their store brand HDX or whatever, and I hear they're actually pretty good. I looked them up for ratings and everything, and they got a pretty high rating actually. But I got the mid grade, the sevens. They're not MERV, they're some other rating. 7. I think the 9 would be better. The 7's equivalent to like MERV 11, I guess. It's like in between MERV 11 and MERV 13, which MERV 13 is like the ultimate for this kind of thing. Um, just get that snug, really tight. Now I have to put these on here. We're going to start in the middle. Actually, I could probably just put squeeze clamps on the end. Would that work? They're pretty ballsy squeeze clamps. Actually, I don't know if you can see my hand stressing out trying to clamp. Get one more in there. I have a button on the squeeze clamps. Really big. Anyway, I don't think that the big 4-inch. Oh, that's hard. Okay, I think that'll hold actually. So I think that's all I'm going to do here. Also, should be enough. everything is flat and true. Supposedly, anyways. Supposedly, anyways. And need a couple more squeeze clamps. The plastic ones. This one's the most ballsy of them all. This thing, I don't know what the difference is. They're almost the same, but this squeeze clamp is like way stronger than like everything else. And I don't know why, it just is. They're stronger or springy or some crap. But anyway, what was I babbling about other stuff? The vacuum. Well, come down to it with the vacuum. I'm pretty happy with how they work, considering I 3D printed them and designed them myself, both of them. But I do believe the I hate these bobbly heads on these. I really wish they'd make them rotate and not bobble. If that makes sense. Because the bobbliness makes them very hard to line up. Very, very hard to line up. This one is. Come on now, break. I'm deliberately breaking them because I want the tear, so it's tapered, so I can jam it in places. So I just jam that point into my hand. It's not too bright. That was just not too bright. I can just tap that in there to clamp it down a little bit. I think that's actually going to work. Better than actually I even thought it was going to. Oops. It's not just poke it into my little hammer. It might actually work. A little more squeezies. Let's put a couple more bars across the top and the bottom. Yeah, and yeah. Get a little more clampy clamp action. Come on. Line up. That should work. And then add some more shimmy shimming to the low spots. Well, we got pretty good contact across all the boards. There's at least one half of it getting hit. So not too worried, actually. I mean, they're not straight. They are getting hit. I can't even get that in there. That one broke off. That one's going in. I think we're actually good. I think. Alright, that's fine, Sergio. More than happy to have a BS session with you. We haven't had a BS session in a while. Assuming there's something you've got a question about. Or what something made. That's working. Go to BJ's. While you're there, Sergio, BJ's has these little frozen egg rolls. They're actually really good. I buy them for lunches because they're, I don't know, I think you get like 2 dozen of them. You can take them out, and I actually put them in the microwave for 1 minute to defrost them. Then I put them in the oven at 400 degrees for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. They come out, and you buy some sweet and sour sauce or whatever dippings you want. And they're really good, actually. And I'm not a big egg roll person. I'm not a veggie, eggy rolly, and they are good. They come out, if you microwave them first, they cook through, but without overcooking. You don't microwave them, and they're frozen. You just throw them in the oven. I've had a few of them come out kind of still raw in the middle. I mean, it's warm, but it doesn't feel like it's cooked in the middle. It always scares me with frozen food. I think I'm tight. I think I'm good. But anyway, they make those really good egg rolls here. Get the egg rolls. They're frozen egg rolls. They come in a box in the frozen section. I mean, they're frozen egg rolls. But they're really good. There's something else I get there. Oh, also Asian. They make those little pork, chicken, or beef, like wontons. Come in a big bag. Those are really good too. Same idea. I throw them in. I always throw them in the microwave for like a minute first, and then put them in a big pan with oil and turn them over. Get them nice and brown and crispy. Those are really good. And I actually make my own sauce with that. I take a tablespoon of honey, 2 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce, and probably twice as much with water. Stir it up and microwave it. Get it warmed up, and it makes a really good, like, it's a thin dipping sauce. It's weird because they're like a breaded, rice thing. So it doesn't actually, like, coat it. It just kind of dribbles off, but it gives it that nice flavor. Those are really good too. That's about all I ever bought at BJ's. That's why I got rid of my BJ's card, because those are the only 2 things I ever did with it. It was like, oh, you can get gas there. It's like, yeah, but I don't go there enough to get gas there to make it worth. I actually told it out. I had a BJ's card for like 2 years, 3 years. And it was $70 a year. And I did the math, and I was saving about $35 a year when I went there. It was like, oh, get gas there. Well, it's far enough away that the 10 cents a gallon or whatever you're saving, and it's substantial. But I was burning more gas getting there because it's far enough away. It's a town and a half away. That I wasn't saving anything unless I was already there. If I was already there in that area doing something else, I was saving money getting gas there. To drive there from here to save 5 or 10 cents a gallon, it wasn't worth it because I was spending the savings driving there. Hopefully this works because I really want this board to work. I really, really, really like this pattern. It's not the perfect pattern for this cutting board, but I think it's going to be a nice one. And I think padding that is going to be a bonus. And I also think it's going to stabilize it a little bit, where it's different layers of different grains, just kind of like a plywood. Except for I'm not crisscrossing the grains, and they're still in the same line, but the spots of expansion and contraction are going to be alternating. So it'll either make it curl worse or a whole lot less. One or the other. But I think it's actually good. I think it's going to hold. I think it looks good. Once I do all the cuts and everything that need to be done, I'm going to put like back bevels on it, and hand grabbers, all that stuff. Clean off the top, on the bottom though. Basically going to make it look like one of the cutting boards, just thinner and a little smaller. But I think it'll look good. And I actually think the line of different colors here in the seam, between the top and the bottom, are going to be cool because I'm going to make my bevel on that line, on that seam. So the black walnut edge, which you'll see here and here, will be flat. The cherry edge, you'll see the bottom of the bevel. Oh, the neighbor towing her trailer around. So anyway, there's that. That's done. That's glued up. That will stay until tomorrow. That glue should hold in a couple hours, and I really want to play with this in a couple hours. But I think I'm going to let it sit overnight. Just a clamp to reach that over there. I think I'm going to put a couple more clamps going this way, just for giggles. Just because I can. I think I have the room. And we'll go from there. I think there's enough glue. I think it's gooey enough. These puppies are old and rusty. I don't think I ever tightened those all the way, did I? I have to do that now. Maybe I did. Looks like an absolute mess, and it kind of is. But I think it'll work. I think my challenge of gluing it up in both directions is going to work. That is my hopes and my dreams. But everything looks tight. So, there we go. One big glued up freaking menagerie. What is up, K2? Yeah, this is kind of this was a test. This is only a test. This is a test. This is only a test of the emergency glue up system. In case of an actual glue up emergency. The emergency broadcast test. I'm sure you guys, especially if you're my age, got filled with them. But around here, they were back in the 70s and the early 80s. They were multiple times a day. And the big horns would go off once a week or so. They really don't do it anymore. Matter of fact, I haven't heard, I hear them in the other towns, but I have a nuclear power plant. It's literally like, I can get on my roof and see it. It's right over there. It's less than 5 miles away as the bird flies. Probably like 3 miles away as the bird flies. Um, and it's got to be more than five because it's a mile out. It's a it's a mile long peninsula, and the power plant sitting on it. Back in the '60s and '70s, it was a big deal. Now it's like, for one, it's not even up and running all that much anymore. I think it only runs like 3 months out of the year. It's getting old. I got a feeling they're going to tear it down soon or rebuild it. Anyway, we used to get that emergency broadcast thing all the time, and you used to get iodine tablets in the mail that you're supposed to take if the alarms go off. You're supposed to pop the pill and all that crap. The iodine like resists radiation getting in your bloodstream or some shit. I don't know. But if you hear the alarms go off, but there were a lot of people getting in trouble because one, they were going off so often that people were never sure. So everyone was overreacting. Oh my God! And every day, alarm. Oh, we're all gonna die. And then you get the people that were just the opposite. Like, oh great, just the stupid alarm again. I'm gonna ignore it. So they realized they were doing it a little too often, and stopped doing it so often. Now, I think Niantic, which is where the actual power plant is, they still test their alarm pretty much once or twice a month, which I can still hear it because it's right over there. Town, the town border is less than a mile away. Um, so I still hear their alarms. I haven't heard the online alarms go off in like months. I think we're only testing like once every other month or once every 6 months. We're not testing it regularly, that's for sure. That is for sure. Um, and again, I don't think I think they only test if it is actually running or before they fire it up. And I know it's not running right now. It's in the rehab. They're lead painting it. One of the places in the world where they have to use lead paint, I guess. I don't know. This thing came out kind of cool. I like this little S corner that I cut off of it. The decorative stripe, purple heart. Anyway, what are you guys up to on this here Sunday morning? Anybody else doing anything fun and exciting? I pretty much got everything I wanted to accomplish accomplished. This is my priority for the day. And it is done. I really want to light up the, something my brother would call. I really want to light up the, I want to put lights up. I know you guys can't see it, but right over these garage doors, when I first started doing this, I didn't put lights over the garage doors because 95% of the time I was working out here, they were open. Because I like fresh air, especially if it's nice out. Um, and I'll go back to opening. That was actually had a screen on it. A friend of ours that was here visiting um, saw that I was opening. I was chasing flies around, and the next day, freaking Amazon showed up with a garage door screen, and they're cheap. They're only like, I don't know. I think she paid like $30 or $40. She didn't buy the cheapest. I think there was one like that was just under $30. I think they bought the $40 or $50 one. It is. You can tell it's heavier duty screening, so thicker quality. But anyway, um, so I didn't put lights there because when the garage door is open, lights are pointless because garage doors blocking the light. Um, I did put one or two. This is going down between them. There's one there that's just about lined up where the windows are, so when it's up, it shines through the windows. But anyway, they're not open as much, and I'm out here more because now I've got it insulated in the winter because it wasn't insulated when I first started working out there. I put the lights up. Anyway, blah blah blah. I want to put lights over there. even if it's just one or two, because I'm finding, especially with the bandsaw and the planer, it's kind of dark over there, even in the daytime. Not terrible. I mean, this place is freaking. I got a bunch of lights in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 4-foot LED bulbs in here now. All running at the same time. But it's lit in here. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of light. But that's the shadow area over there. And I have found with the bandsaw, I actually put a light on it. It's built to have its own light, but I was getting a lot of shadow from it. The top box and the planer, I have shadows too. When you're working, and you really don't want the shadows when you're trying to see what you're doing. So I want to just put. I put an outlet in, and I think I'm just going to put a single band of 3 lights because you could daisy chain these lights up to 3. Uh, so I think I'm going to put 3 over there. I have them in the other side because I did the same thing over there when I had all the woodworking tools over there when I was just using the single bay. Now I'm in the double bay. You can keep that snow crap. So I'm going to steal a couple of lights over there and bring them over here. And I think I'm just going to plug in there and put a day of 3. But I also want to I'm going to make a homemade filter fan because, again, I bought 4 of those filters all at once because they're cheaper to buy 4 than there is to buy 2. If you're going to buy 2 or 3, it's literally, you get like 51% off if you buy them in a pack of 4. I was like, screw it. I was going to buy 2. I could save like $1.50 by buying 4. When I buy 4 and just stack them. So I think I'm going to put a fan on one, like a box fan, or I think I have a spare, like little double window fan with the little ones. I just basically duct tape it, cardboard box it to it, and kind of put it over there somewhere for an air purifier, which I think will actually help in here. You see the 4-panel LED bulb? You know ones that just screw into them and they fan out? Yes, I actually have those in my staircase, and I like them. This is a buttload cheaper. My brother, I'm going to mute this Alright, is my sound back on? Did it kick out this time again? Do I have audio? Audio. Mic. Oh, I've been on my USB mic.
Do I still have audio? Did it just kick back on? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I know it kicks out when the phone kicks on. These kick over to this. Did it kick over, or can you hear me? View on Twitch. I can hear myself if I can hear me. This tab is using the camera or your microphone. Can you hear me now? No one's responding, so I'm guessing not. Come on, old ass. I need a new computer for out here. This thing is just too fucking slow. Come on. Anytime now. Come on. Stop dicking around and just load. Can you hear me now? I don't think you can. But it's still loading in the background because I'm streaming and loading. So sad. I can hear myself, so I will mute that. Get rid of that. You should be able to hear me now, correct? Found at Menards, yes, but these are even cheaper, and they actually throw more light, and they're easier to deal with because I don't need those. You're talking about the ones that screw into a regular light bulb outlet, socket. These you just plug in. So I put an outlet up there, and I can just put outlets, and they're all wired together. So I flip one switch at the door, and they all come on. Those are nice. They're cheap. These are way cheaper and way better. I've been using these for years. I get them on Amazon. You get a pack of 6, 8, or 10, depending on what you want. You can actually get more now of 4-foot LED bulbs. They're all on their own. They're not like you got to slip them into a fluorescent unit. It's a self-contained unit. They are, well, I can show you. I got one right here. I can get them in 2, 3, or 4 foot. This is a 2-foot. I get both, depending on where I'm going to want it. The 2-foot are actually more expensive than the 4-foot, believe it or not. This is it. You can plug them in. They have a little plug here that's got sawdust in it. You just plug it in. You can daisy chain them. You just plug in on the other end and go. You can go up to 3. There's people that say you can go more. I wouldn't go beyond 3. I have noticed even with 3, they start to get warm. We use these as job site. They're so cheap. They're actually even cheaper now. I have seen them on sale, especially like Black Friday, and I have seen them again recently. I was thinking about buying another box, even though I don't need them. They are down to now 6 of them for $39 of 4-foot, not 2-foot, 4-foot, which is what this place mostly is. There's one 2-foot there, and I think there's one over there. The 2-foots I use. We started buying these. I used to work for a guy next door, and we started buying them for drop lights for job sites because they're so stupidly cheap, and there are actually multiple lights in here. So even if it gets damaged, we've dropped ladders on them, and like the center light will kick out, and the 2 ends will still work. So, and I mean, they're so stupidly cheap. Like the fancy job site halogen lights were more expensive and blue bulbs more than we were damaging these things, and they shed more light, and it's less bright. It's not, like the halogen job site lights are like very sharp, If you look at it, you're like blinded for 10 minutes. Where these are, there was plenty of light and it spread out more, but it wasn't so bright. Anyway, on that note, I am gonna bolt because I got to call my brother back and do some other stuff, and I've been streaming for like 2 hours, which is good for me. I usually only get an hour. So on that note, bye everybody. Since it looks like everyone left anyways.